All right, welcome back, GSB. We've got game two. It's Ohio and Seattle facing off. I'm joined by KT today. What's going on?
Dude, pretty good, man. I mean, I'm excited for this one. Last of the preseason games and two fantastic teams.
Two really good teams, and I think two teams that are sort of flying under the radar a little bit. You don't see as much talk about really either of these squads as some of the other teams, and they're both, really active, some really good talent. So I think we got a lot to look forward to here.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely some unique
Oops.
roster construction between both these teams. Seattle definitely going the big route.
Absolutely. Seattle is going very big, as I almost forgot to switch back to neutral there. So we are underway, and we have definitely a lot to look forward to, and what, like you said, will certainly be a big man-oriented game as Snyder starts us off with a huge three.
Yeah, he's going to be a dangerous perimeter guy for this team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think, for Seattle, has a good take there by Tribble, I believe. Yeah. I think for Seattle, the key is going to be for their perimeter guys to be consistently good. They don't have the depth to afford many bad games from them.
Yeah, and there's some really dangerous guys for the Seattle team coming off the bench tonight too. So it's going to be interesting to see how those match up.
Yeah, I mean, looking through, I was a little surprised with some of the starters. I think both teams are kind of just trying to get a feel for everyone, and they're not too concerned about draft positioning or things like that. They just want to get the guys who they think are their best five on the court.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I am surprised, of course, the Shane Knox coming off the bench and the defensive monster that he is. I think that will be probably in Seattle's favor here tonight off that bench matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, looking through the prospect games, as that one's off for Tribble, Seattle picked some of the most efficient guys you see. I mean, Medici down there, 73%, Knox, 68%, and not every team has guys that are that efficient, even down low, and I think that gives them a unique aspect to their game. As Snyder gets the steal here, and he's going to push it all the way to Harrison, who draws the foul.
Yeah, on that note, I think that their game here in Seattle will probably be efficiency and defense, and seeing how those two come together.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, at any level of basketball in any league in the world, whether you're looking at middle school, professional, overseas, those two things are a lot of times the difference between winning and losing. So I really do think Seattle could be a sleeper pick to go further than a lot of people have been talking about with them.
Yeah, I think that they'll be a great team, and I think Ohio also one of the top teams on paper. I mean, that's the beauty of this league, right? Everybody starts so even that you're not really sure who's going to come away with it at the end.
Right, exactly. I mean, the discussion inside every team's locker room, I'm sure, is focused on a championship. You don't have any organizations that are ahead of one another in terms of prestige or goals. Everyone just wants to win. Is Mitchell there? A good take. Philbin gets the rebound, and he's going to go right back up with a strong hook. Can't finish, and Stern almost lost it, but picks it up, and he'll bring it up now for Seattle, who, by the way, have some of the most interesting uniforms I've ever seen, as there's Harrison. A nice throwdown, and just like the last game, we see one team getting off to a great offensive start and one struggling a little bit here.
It's been a little bit of a trend all preseason is runs. Not necessarily, the start here, but just in general, we'll see teams go on runs. Defense step up or offense step up and make things happen.
Haley.
Yeah, definitely, and that's Bailey hitting a big three there, making sure things don't get too out of control for Ohio, keeping them in it a little bit, and definitely a good sign for their offense. We saw it earlier with Kentucky. They got great looks in the first half, hit most of them. Then in the second, they continued to find those looks, but they just couldn't knock them down.
Yeah, the heat kind of fell off a little bit from them.
If someone in the chat could let me know, I don't know if I'm just imagining it or if it's my headphones, but the game audio sounds significantly longer to me. I also realized I'm not streaming you, which is a slight issue, so I do apologize.
I DM'd you. I wasn't trying to. I was trying to keep it professional, but.
There we go. I thought I turned that on, and I realized about halfway through as that was Muddy Blunts, I believe, on the shot that I just straight up wasn't streaming to you. So
yeah, this will be easier now, right?
tremendous apologies there, and it just shows the skill of you as a color commentator that you were a little behind and still able to do such a great job.
I appreciate it. I was definitely doing my best.
So we see Mitchell up here. He's certainly projected to be a little bit of a ball-dominant player. He was a great scorer in the showcase games and got a lot of shots. Some solid post play by Philbin. Can't get it to go. Tribble now will look back there as a cutting Bailey will slam it down.
So Bailey, a guy that will probably be doing that all season. He was the first poster dunk on Brendan McGinty, who's also on the Seattle squad. So maybe we'll see them go back at it tonight.
And I think definitely a lot of athletes on both teams and a lot of big guys, that might be down there and get in harm's way. So definitely a game that could produce a lot of highlights.
Oh, absolutely.
Bailey here is facing up a little bit. He can do it from outside too, as there's Blunts again with a 3. And Ohio, I guess they heard what you said about runs, because now they've ripped off a 10-0 run of their own, and Seattle's going to need a timeout.
Yeah, that or they heard what you said about Seattle coming out hot, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think another interesting dynamic of this league is, of course, the stamina factor. And you see these teams aren't, let's get that out of there. These teams, at least from what we've seen in the preseason, they don't use timeouts maybe as much as they should. A lot of teams are saving them as a real nice floater there from McGinty, a crafty move. But a lot of teams are... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think he was surprised how open he was when they got it on the wing, corner to him there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a shot, he might have taken the 3, but decided to just get the easy layup. But back to stamina, I feel we see a lot of teams end games, especially ones that aren't close, with 2 or 3 timeouts left, which kind of changes the impact of stamina, at least a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely does. And some teams have taken a different approach to it than others, right? More emphasis on it. Some teams, I use the word neglecting because it's just not an area of emphasis for them, whether or not it's having a real impact or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look at teams like, for example, over there in Michigan, where, of course, I'm the head coach. We got most of our guys are good on stamina at this point. But I know for some teams, they're focusing more on scoring and defending right now. So it could become a factor near the end of the game.
Yeah, and especially as the season goes through, and some game plan systems can take advantage of that. If a team doesn't have good stamina, certain systems that you put your team in can gas your opponent real fast, but your players can keep up.
Definitely, and we're seeing a little bit of an offensive showdown here on both ends. Really the first time tonight that we've seen both sides kind of rolling on at the same time on offense, and man, it is fun to watch.
Yeah, it is, and not really all that surprised. Both these teams have some great post presence. You mentioned Scout Mitchell as a guy who wants to get involved in the offense, and the other side we've seen a lot of great movement out of them around the perimeter too.
Yeah, I was really impressed. We were talking about this a little bit in the studio before the game, but Ohio spent a lot of time on their game plan, and they're really trying out some different stuff. So it'll be interesting to see once it kind of gets into effect here. Some things maybe our viewers haven't seen yet in the preseason.
And that's where you want to try it, right? You want to try it in the preseason when it can't really affect you if it doesn't work, and if it does work, you're like, man, I can save that for later.
Oh, for sure. And Bailey's going to get a good look to the basket again. He just lays it in, but he's been cutting really, really effectively. I think he might be a matchup problem all year long with his speed.
And Ohio traded for him as part of the first trade in GSB history, and he's already shown you why.
It's going to be a 3-second. I'm not sure we've seen that yet at all this preseason. That might be a first of its kind call there, speaking of firsts.
Yeah, Mario Medici, I believe that was called on. Guy that's used to play in the center role. He'll be playing some power forward for the Seattle team, so.
Yeah, and I think Mitchell there and Bailey, both because of how big and occasionally immovable some of the Ohio bigs are really going to dominate this matchup. Whereas against other teams, that play quicker, especially at the 4, it might not go as well. And that brings me into, I think, some of the preseason success and some of the results, and the other way too, some losses are a little bit of fool's gold. All the teams are experimenting as Mitchell just drives through him there. But
Yeah.
I think there's certainly an element of we can't look too far into the preseason with some of these results. I hope we don't see teams going full meltdown mode because of a preseason loss and a guy not playing well.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a time for coaches, staffs to try some things, get things out of their system now. We've talked about it time and time again that this is a league that's doing things that no other league does. And with that comes a learning curve, right?
Most definitely, and I think a lot of effort is going to be the determiner of who wins this first season. There's no meta in place yet, so I think a lot of it will come down to who's experimenting the most, with their own sims and that sort of thing. Now that was Mitchell's second foul here already, so he'll probably be done for the quarter, which is a tough blow for Ohio. Not just because he's such a good player, but they want to see him here in the preseason. They want to get him out there with their 5 and see what he can do.
Yeah, he was a guy that could have easily gone in that first round. Ohio gets him early in the second round, so he's definitely going to be somebody that Ohio wants to use in a big way.
Medici here working down low, got his own rebound with some help from Mr. Raccoon over there. And McGinty's going to have to make some magic here again, and he'll drive and get fouled, and man.
Will McGinty putting those spin on there.
We really had a rhythm going, some nice offense, and then the refs just had to step in and ruin this whole thing. I want to say we've been at the line for the last 3 or 4 possessions straight here.
I'm a bet that the Raccoon passed money over to him just to slow down the game a little.
Yeah, that's probably it. Like we were talking about, the stamina's playing a factor. They want to spend some time at the line.
Yeah, don't blame him. It's and it you don't burn the time out that way.
Looking down the Seattle roster, I don't know how much stock they really put into the prospect games. I think they kind of found their guys before that and let that play out, knowing where they were and where they wanted to be. Because not too many of their guys really popped off on paper in the showcase. And yet,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone argues that they had a bad draft whatsoever.
No, I would honestly argue the opposite, that they have one of the better drafts, but I know Oakland had similar values to Seattle in that we picked guys not necessarily how they played basketball, because the system being progression as it is, anybody can be anything.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in the prospect games, people were a little limited as far as progression goes. So you're picking more of the person as McGinty. That would have been a big shot for him. He's really shown something here early on, as you see Ohio is just dominating on the glass, which is a little surprising given Seattle's focus on the big. I thought it'd be absolutely the opposite.
Oh, absolutely. I would have too if I had to bet.
Assisted by
And Phillips got in on the back cut there. That's some beautiful basketball. But that's the kind of thing, you pick all these big men. That's exactly what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, you want to have a strong interior. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
2 minutes remaining in the first.
Knox is going to pull up from mid-range. That's a play that you don't normally see run for a big man like that. He came off the screen. The 7-footer took 2 dribbles and pulled up from mid-range, which is...
My favorite is that he started outside the 3-point line, so he had to make that play himself.
Right, yeah. And I think a big part of that right now is, the Seattle squad out there is huge with, honestly, 3 bigger guys. That's a good take there again.
More foul, yep. Lap happy a little bit on Ohio, I think, or maybe home refs cooking, but Seattle's done a good job of getting to the basket, getting in the lane, and having to draw some contact.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you're Ohio right now, you're not too worried about those fouls with all the communication we've been getting on how the foul sliders may end up being adjusted. I don't think you can be too mad at all these fouls, because in the regular season, I doubt we'll be spending 4 trips in a row at the line.
Yeah, and something I've said too is that it's going to get reduced no matter what the sliders are. You're going to see reduction in fouls as the season goes on, as people get better at defense, give some more focus to a better IQ. Everybody's started kind of low in that area.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone right now, or at least most folks, are focused on perimeter defense, 3-point shooting, ball handling, and some of the little things are going overlooked. And eventually, you run out of great steal there by Raccoon, and we'll see if they can get something here. Stern is going to miss that one, surprisingly. But I think as the season goes on and, guys start getting close to their maxes, you're going to see more of those little things play a huge factor in the outcome of games.
Oh, yeah. And something I think will be interesting, too, as more points go into play, is how people are building. You definitely have some guys that are going more attribute-heavy, some people going more badge-heavy. And I'm curious to see which version of that, has the better success in the long run.
So some more free throws here. Boy, if we had sponsors, they'd be making a killing right now, that's for sure. If we had free throw sponsors, boy, you guys would have seen 18 Burger King ads.
Definitely would be getting their money's worth, huh?
No, and I think a big part of what has made this league so special so far is all the attention to detail. You look at the stanchion, you've got the Seattle logo. You look at the mats you wipe your feet on when you check in. You've got the team logos and the GSB there. All the attention to detail has just made the experience so great. For fans to watch, and calling games and stuff, the immersion factor is just really high.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely onto something special, and it's always even more fun when you can start at the beginning of that and have an impact in it.
Absolutely, and McGinty here has just been unbelievable in his small stature. He stands at 6'4". No, 6.
He's 6 foot.
6 foot, yeah. I read that wrong. He stands at 6 foot, and he's been getting to the basket and scoring with ease, kind of reminding me of a Fred VanVleet type of player. His Raccoon got a huge rejection there, but gets called for the foul.
McGinty was a guy that a lot of teams hesitated on because of his height. Falls to the 3rd round, despite how active he is, and the height was a concern for a lot of teams. Seattle takes him, and already showing that they've got high hopes and high expectations for him.
Yeah, for sure. And another first, speaking of firsts, which of course we'll get a lot of here in this first couple weeks of the season. Both teams are in the bonus here with just 10-minute
man.
quarters.
Jeez.
So we've got at least 10 combined fouls. It seems like most of them shooting here in the first 10 minutes of the game, which is hopefully, like you said, something we see less of in the regular season.
Yeah, and it could be something like both teams, said, let's just play physical D and get on it,
The one thing I'm looking forward to seeing as the season goes on is how game plans develop. If we start seeing more teams go 2 for 1, little things like that. Is Raccoon and Knox here have been forced to play so much on the perimeter. I wonder if that's not affecting what Seattle's really trying to do. As McKenzie, that time his height's not gonna work.
Great D.
We get another look there.
Mashera says absolutely not.
Oh man, what a rejection there. Forced the shot clock violation. He's excited. I'm sure his coach is excited. That's what, all the coaches around the league have been preaching. We need points in defense. As Huxley's going to fire it up to end the quarter, and that one falls a little short.
Yeah, nothing against Huxley, but when I say this, but I absolutely love that this game lets you airball. We've seen, I think, like 5 in the preseason alone, which is amazing.
Absolutely. And, Huxley, not known thus far for being a shooter. He managed 48% from the field in the prospect games, but just 25% from 3. So I think their game plan will probably revolve around him going inside a lot more than shooting up those kind of shots.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I know unofficially we have run Blacktop and those sorts of things. And Huxley was an absolute beast in there. So I've got some respect for the dude.
Phillips had a look there, passed it up. We're going to get a drive that stripped away, and Evans here trying to make a name for himself. He'll miss that one and can't follow it up. So Snyder's going to bring it down for Seattle, who have done a pretty good job pushing the fast break thus far, which some teams have really, really struggled with in the preseason.
Yeah, they definitely have, and I don't know if necessarily it's in statements on teams able to defend the transition. I think there's just a lot of people that are fairly slow at this stage in the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it'll get better. Like we're talking about first couple weeks, even of the season. Things are going to be building for sure. That is a really nice move down there from Johnson to work through and get the basket.
Yeah, real tough shot.
Bear Johnson was certainly not a huge contributor in the prospect games, but showed enough that Ohio was really excited about getting him where they got him, I think.
Yeah, he's I think he'll be a great role player at with I think that's his intention as far as who he is. As he hammers it down there just as a slap in my face, but
yeah, asking you if a role player would do that.
Right.
No, as pointed out here in our chat, some of the color-on-color matchup potential in this league is just absolutely incredible. As Odin's going to hit a really nice mid-range shot there. Play ran beautifully, but some of the jersey colors, and it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, there are a lot of unique color schemes in this league as compared to what you typically see combined, I think.
Detroit basketball.
Well, another certainly interesting call as we get an illegal screen there that wiped off a pretty decent look that wouldn't fall. But I'm really happy to see, as that's a great defensive play there to force the turnover. I'm really happy to see kind of the mid-range resurgence that this league is seeing.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to be really interesting in the way all of these teams play is like how do you differentiate yourself from another team, right? Because at a certain point we're all very similar in where we start. So, are you going to be big? Are you going to be fast? Are you going to be defensive, offensive? It's going to be great.
You know, and I think like many preseasons, this preseason was a little bit sluggish in terms of we've had a lot of teams that aren't putting their best players on the court for 30 minutes. We've got a lot of teams that, you know, messed around with different lineups, and I don't think this is the best product we're going to see this year at all. Like you mentioned, you know, everyone's learning, and it's only going to get better from here. As Huxley got a good look, but Evans is able to clean it up.
There is a certain strategic value too in not revealing too much in the preseason. It doesn't matter, right? It does not matter what happens in the preseason. And then you come out week one and you roll out something completely different maybe, and your opponent has no idea because they scouted that preseason matchup.
Exactly, you know, like personally as a head coach, I don't really care what our week one opponent did in the preseason. You know what I mean? Like, it's our players are going to be better, and so are theirs, and tendencies will change. All of that stuff will change big time. And I think game planning too much off of not just preseason but the early weeks of the season is really going to cost some teams later in the year.
I absolutely agree. I think it's pretty incredible that, you know, the teams that start out real great, whoever they may be, may not be the ones that we in the season thinking are like the best teams in the league, or you know, we see at the championship win. Like, take Stampede, who just got blown out by I think it was 20 some odd points. They're going to be a completely different team by the end of the season, and we're going to look back and be like, how did they lose like that? You know.
Right, you know, and you look at two of the teams that have definitely been pinned by the community as sort of favorites, or at least vocal favorites. Memphis and Kentucky both lost their preseason games. So, you know, it's the same with them. They might come out week one, win by 30, or they might lose by 30.
Yeah, I definitely think that we don't know anything at this stage, and it's just going to be amazing to see how it develops.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a really, really nice move by Stern there. A little old school hook. And like some people have pointed out, this is shaping up to be a really, really fun game. You know, the refs have kind of backed off a little bit. We're getting into a flow, and the defenses are stepping up too. Speaking of, Blunt's huge three, and what do we, is it?
Philbin getting a loose ball foul there.
Interesting. I thought that might have been a shot at a 4-point play for a second, but
no,
the bucket will still count.
They let him keep the points, but if he had missed that is really where it would have hurt.
Yeah, for sure. But Muddy Blunt's definitely a winner here so far early on, as playing incredible on offense, at least, coming off the screens, ready to shoot, and really showing what they can do. Is here they're backing down a much bigger opponent, and
yeah, he got a little confident there.
Yeah, not the best look, but Seattle's still going with this really, really big lineup, and it hasn't seemed to hurt them too much so far. You know, they're still competing, and these big guys.
I was just gonna say they're compensating for Brennan McGinty being out there.
Yeah, exactly. They're making up on the combined height front, but I'll tell you what, Muddy Blunt isn't exactly a big player either at 6'1".
Oh, he wanted that poster, bro.
That would have been absolutely ridiculous. Quite possibly the best one we had seen so far. But you love to see the aggression from a big guy like Tribble.
Yeah, there was a lot of confidence in that, and kudos to Medici for not letting him do it.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it with Scottie Pippen in the last game. After he threw down that poster in the first, just about every time he got in the lane, he took a real hard foul.
Oh yeah, not gonna let him do it twice.
Now, I wonder if we might have to start worrying about guys fouling out here. As,
I don't think we've seen any foul outs in the preseason either, so be interesting.
Because, the refs have probably been the biggest talking point in the preseason, and they're certainly showing up for the final game as Raccoon takes the ball up there, which is certainly interesting. And he's going to come off the screen, attack strong, and get a nice mid-range pull-up. Surprised that didn't go in, but Knox
I am
cleans
too.
it up.
That was a real clean look from the Raccoon.
Yeah, like we were talking about, I mean, we got Raccoon and Knox both playing really, really well off the dribble, which, if they can do that at their stature for Seattle, that completely opens up the game.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it's definitely not what I would expect out of either of them either, so kudos.
Really good take there. Couldn't get it to go, but I thought we might get a little bit of showtime with Stern having the lane, and Raccoon could have cut through there. Was hoping to get a nice lob, but I don't think we have the attributes quite yet to really get some showtime lobs.
Right. We've not seen a whole lot of them at all. I just don't think people are there yet, but when they happen, oh man, crowd's gonna lose their mind.
Once we start getting, a couple of the really pure point guards in this league, the guys who love to pass, once we see them start getting badges like special delivery, it's gonna get fun.
Oh yeah. I know some people have them, but regardless of if they have them or not, there's so much to make an oop happen. It's not just one person, so.
I think things could get really fun if we get a couple of duos, that get special delivery for passing and
Aerial Wizard?
Yeah, that's the one. Aerial Wizard to throw down. It's going to be really special. As what a block from Raccoon. Straight up snatching it, and Stern on the other end couldn't quite finish the play. They're going to reset.
Down there to bring it in too, so. Oh.
Oh no. A little bit of a struggle. So here we go. Oh, whoa. That screen there from Tribble moved McGinty about 6 feet.
Yeah, he was going home. He was taking him home.
Yeah, I think he wanted to ensure social distancing was being enforced on that play. Moving him 6 feet out of the way, telling him to get a mask on.
So what they didn't tell you was Tribble was picked up off a football field, and he was like a old lineman. So he was just doing his job,
And Knox, what a play on that one. Couldn't get it to go, but stays with it and just flips it in over his head. He's playing like a bit of a guard here, almost, with these unique finishes, pulling up off the dribble. I did not see this one coming.
Oh, and he's doing it right back to him. Oh, no, he's not.
Stern's going to get a shot here to show off the hops. It looked like for a second he was going to bring the house down.
He thought
but no such luck.
Scared of Bailey.
Mitchell out top now. He's back in the game with his 2 fouls. No doubt playing careful on defense, but still making an impact as he's going to take a 3. That won't go, and the Seattle rebounding has gotten much better as this game has progressed.
Yeah, it definitely has. We've seen some offensive rebounding. We've seen clear defensive rebounding, so I'd like to see him keep doing it.
Both teams are struggling a little bit here, which is a recurring theme, I think. Teams come out hot in the first quarter and then start missing a couple bunnies and really lose their rhythm.
But I think that goes back to what you were talking about initially, is that stamina. I don't think a lot of teams have the stamina to stay consistent in a ball game as it is right now.
Yeah, absolutely is. Mitchell here, you'd like to see him drive just like this, especially with the smaller McGinty on him, and that's a tough finish and one.
Number 16.
McGinty looks so upset. He's back there flopping his hands around.
He's asking the ref, you know, I'm 6 foot. What could I really do to this guy?
Yeah.
One shot.
Certainly a good sign for Mitchell here, staying aggressive after picking up those 2 fouls. He doesn't look like he's missed a beat from that time on the bench.
No, none at all. And that's what you want a guy to be able to do.
And you know, as a guy who plays more of a guard role, he shot 56% from the field in the prospect games, which is just unbelievable. And if Ohio can get that from him off the drive, he could be a potential MVP type of candidate.
Oh yeah, that kind of field goal percentage is something you're pretty content with out of a big man, let alone a guard.
Yeah, exactly. You know, definitely a young LeBron type of archetype from him so far, I'm thinking. Really likes to attack off the dribble. The shooting not quite developed
my
is...
goodness.
Oh, man. Raccoon with what could have been a flagrant foul just pulls him down by his neck. And like I was talking about, who else do you see getting fouled like that?
Yeah, I'm impressed that he almost got it to go. I'm a little disappointed he didn't, because that would have been amazing.
Showing off the pure strength powering through a foul like that and even getting it up to the rim, let alone, you know, putting it in a spot where he could have scored.
Yeah, absolutely.
And off on another free throw, he is a guy who's had some free throw issues at 55%.
Yeah, I think that kind of is the whole league right now, though.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw my boys in Michigan shoot under 50% for the game and still manage to pull it out. And I think all around the league, you know, you kind of look down the rosters, you got some guys like Seattle. Most of their team is in the 40s, not where you want to be at.
Nah, especially when they're getting the volume that they are currently. If that maintains, they may have to revisit their situation on free throws.
Absolutely, and you know, you look at the free throw numbers around the league, and if you point to a league, well, you can't really say league average as we haven't played a season yet, but basketball average percentage around 70, and we'd have games easily getting to 110, 120. As
Right.
Mitchell, watch out!
There you go.
Proving his worth here early, just absolutely dominating, driving by Raccoon pretty easily. I mean, you wonder if that hard foul wasn't out of a little bit of frustration, giving up so many points off the drive.
Yeah, it definitely could have been. We've seen guys get heated over less. Oh,
What a take!
yeah, what a take. He had a big man Mitchell on his back there and got a real pretty layup there.
Here we go. Long three off the back iron. And a really competitive first half here in Seattle. Ohio takes a narrow lead, but it didn't feel like either team really had a huge advantage.
No, we saw Ohio looking pretty dominant at first. Seattle's done a great job of, you know, keeping that from happening. And wow, look at that. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, you know, I really think either team has a good shot. You know, I almost hope we don't see one of those runs to put it away and we get a nice back and forth game, because both teams are really, really fighting here, especially on the defensive end. You know, you've seen the post defense on both sides, a lot of missed layups, so.
Yeah, definitely. Curious to see how this next half goes. We know that both teams are capable of runs. We've seen both do that. So see what coach draws up, what he tells his team to do, and how it goes.
And once again, you see the Seattle shooting not a great percentage and getting out rebounded, but their willingness to shoot the three and their pretty solid performance at the line, given the percentages coming in and really what's kept them in it.
All right, fans, here we go. Time to get loud now for your Detroit Pistons dancer.
All right, the second half is about to get underway here. 3-point Ohio lead. A lot to feel good about in that first half for both sides, really. I mean, you saw Seattle get great guard play, which, like I said, we were not expecting. And for Ohio, I mean, Scout Mitchell has just been unbelievable. So can't wait to see if he continues that here in this half.
Yeah, I think EJ Bailey has also been really, really solid, kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Absolutely, you know, not putting up a lot of stats, but just making plays out there. We're going to get Seattle here looking to make something happen on offense. Running the pick and roll, which we haven't seen too much of today, and that's Bailey making another great play. Getting the steal there, pushing in transition, and he'll find Jerry Philbin.
The assist goes to
Jerry Philbin, the guy that Ohio takes in the first round, and for his interior prowess, and he shows you some of it there.
You know, and a guy that may compare to another highly touted first-round pick, someone like Blake Griffin in the league, I think, especially seeing dunks like that, you know, might have a similar play style, as Odin's going to get a good look and knock it down. That's got to feel good for Odin after missing a couple bunnies there in the first half and a couple of open shots.
Oh yeah, and it makes his team feel more comfortable giving him the ball in those kind of situations with the clock winding down.
Oh, nice defense there, but Bailey gets it back, stripped again, and powers through. Goodness. That's just pure heart right there from Bailey fighting, but you can't overlook the defense from Snyder. Just a tremendous job stopping him for, I mean, almost the whole possession, just not quite enough there at the end.
Yeah, he definitely did not want to let him make that easy, and as like we said, as where people are with free throws right now, you'd rather give him the foul, just make him earn it at the line, than give him the open layup.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see if the foul pays off here. The first one's good, but with the way people are shooting free throws, I almost think if you get someone under the basket, it's a good percentage play to just give them a nice little shove. Don't let them get the shot off or anything.
Give him a flagrant every time around, right?
Pretty much, and with the officials' complete unwillingness to call flagrants, at least from what I've seen, I'd be surprised if we see one all year. I mean, like I said last game, you know, the old saying, if you foul them, make sure it's hard enough that they don't get the shot off.
Oh, absolutely.
Seattle here trying to run something, but the play was on the other end of the court while you had a guy in the corner. And it's kind of going to force Snyder into a bad shot. Not really his fault, just not much going on that possession for Seattle. Luntz has been quiet after the first quarter performance, and that's a good take right there. Couldn't finish, but stays with it, and couldn't finish again. Odin, good defense, and a little case of just being too small down there.
Yeah, Odin looks like he's got a pretty sizable advantage in that department.
Yeah, that's 6'7" versus 6'1", so certainly not an easy finish.
For your Pistons. At the line for two.
Take a break. Take a break.
So now we've got Snyder at the line, actually one of the better free throw shooters on the Seattle team at 66%.
Oh, he's got a little dribble that's interesting there. Dribble like 3 in the front, and then 1 over to the right, and then back in the front.
Yeah, seeing some of the free throw animations has been pretty awesome here. Certainly some unique stuff. A little bit of Steve Nash in it too.
I like that one.
Well, it didn't help him there on the second, as the free throw struggles continue here in Gold Standard. As Mitchell's going to get another chance, but gives it up, and Jerry Philbin's been really, I know he's probably not going to get a huge shout out for people who just look at the box score, but he's been really solid on both ends today.
Yeah, I was actually a little surprised Mitchell gave that one up. It looked like he had his man beat and the lane, but he had faith that Philbin could knock it.
Real unselfish play, and Odin answers with a three. Seattle needed that a little bit. They were struggling, and you could almost feel an Ohio run starting to build up with the way their offense has been flowing.
Yeah, and he's been really good from the perimeter tonight.
That's the one thing I do like about Mitchell's game. You know, he's dominant off the drive, but he doesn't overuse it. You don't see him driving into 3 or 4 people, as that one's rejected. That's
Williams
Jim C. Williams, yeah.
Williams is one of the biggest men in the entire league, and he shows you an advantage as to what that brings.
Definitely. He's listed at 7'3", 350 pounds, which makes him another guy that's just, I mean, I don't know what they call him at the doctor's office, but he's not skinny. And he joins Shane Knox as another 350 guy on the roster for the Orcas.
Yeah, they've got some absolute giants down in the paint.
If you go pound for pound, I don't think anyone in the league quite has the weight of Seattle. It's a nice move there by Harrison, but he can't put it in.
I don't know, McGinty might bring their average down, right?
Speaking of the little guys, Muddy Blunt's a great finish there at 6'1" to keep the defender out of the shot pocket there and be able to put that one up and in.
Yeah, and that was a classic case of speed.
Absolutely, and I think McGinty could take some notes from that one. You know, using your body to get the shot off and avoid those shot blockers is another tough shot for Seattle, but they're able to draw the foul. The little dude down there, Muddy Blunt, gets called for another foul, which, I don't know, that doesn't seem right to me. If you're 6'1", I don't think you should be able to foul in this league.
You just exempt with, like, biting ankles out here and no fouls.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
2 more here for Snyder, which, as we mentioned, one of the better free throw shooters for Seattle. We get to see this unique routine.
Oh, yeah.
He puts that one in. I really do think, though, as the season progresses, Seattle might fall a little behind for a week when they do end up having to fix their free throw problem. Second one here will drop in for Snyder. Back to a 2-point game, and haven't been too many lead changes. Ohio's been in control, but certainly a up and down sort of game where you think anything could happen.
Yeah, I think both teams have done a good job of keeping this even, not letting anybody get too far ahead.
There's Blunts again, using the body beautifully. Just making sure that Odin wasn't going to get to that, even though he does have quite a size advantage.
Yeah, and he was trying. The arms were up, and Muddy Blunts was in the middle of them.
Yeah, just went right through whatever badges and animations they're using. I think McGinty might want to have a little meeting there and figure it out, because he could really use some of those. Because Odin's going to get forced here to give it up to Jim Williams. He's going to pull up.
He didn't airball it.
He did not.
Give him kudos for that.
Had a solid shot there to make that one, which would have been certainly the lowest percentage shot that's gone in this preseason. Blunt's looking to take on Odin here again. Is a good pass to Tribble. He's going to have to create off the dribble, and that's not his specialty, but he makes it work. Absolutely smothered, but just bodies it up and over the outstretched arms of Jim Williams down there, yeah. Oh, wow. Williams trying to make up for it, but Tribble's just too big, and, well, maybe not too big, but too strong. And some sad Seattle news coming in right now. Speaking of the
Oh my
Seattle
goodness.
sports teams, Sean Kemp arrested on drive-by shooting charges, which
Man.
just not something you want to see for Seattle sports. I figured we might have a couple, Seattle guys in here.
Right.
It's not something you want to see, and it's hard to make any promises in this league, but I don't see any Orcas players having that problem anytime soon.
Yeah, I think they're pretty solid on that. They're mostly good for the Seattle representation. Having a raccoon's a little questionable, but
Yeah, the PETA had to get some clearance for that one, as we got a good take.
Number 12. Second personal foul.
it's okay. The whole team's vaccinated. Anybody who plays Seattle has to be vaccinated. Rabies shots up to date, and they make sure to test the raccoon pretty frequently. So.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
We'll have to see if the rabies protocols get introduced this year in the event of another hard foul like that draws some blood or something, So we're gonna get some more free throws here. These topics show just how many free throws have been shot in this game.
Oh yeah, there have been a lot, and I think a lot of that has been how the coaches have told their teams to come in and play. Be physical, play hard ball. Don't let them have anything easy.
And I do think this game has a shot to be the longest in GSP history. We're coming up on the hour mark.
Oh really?
And we still have 4 minutes left in the third quarter. So
He's working overtime.
Phillips there got a good look. Johnson, there he is again. He ain't no role player.
He does his role well. They don't really go to him for offense, but he gets those boards and he'll put them back in.
Oh, excuse me.
Assisted by
A much needed bucket there for
number 3.
for Seattle, but I think the rebounding just has to be driving the staff in Seattle insane right now with how much you focused on it and how big you got guys, and then Ohio comes out and just sets the tone on the glass from the very beginning.
I know I would be frustrated.
Number 12.
They've got a lot of guys with height on the roster. One of the biggest teams in the league, easily. Minus Brendan McGinty, we'll exempt him, and they're just kind of being owned on it.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to look. A statistical anomaly, not anything huge, but still a funny one. McGinty is actually not last in rebounding in the prospect games. He was third to last.
He's a little weasel.
He slides in there and gets some boards, and out rebounds Muddy Blunts, who has an inch on him and quite a bit of athleticism. So he fights down there. He does his best. It's there we saw him set a screen, which probably felt like a fly landing on the shoulder, but Knox gets fouled. Whoa, shooting the jumper is Johnson.
It's a rare sight.
Johnson got a little over-eager there, wanted to get another block, earn a couple more minutes.
It's a very odd sight, though. Most fouls coming on contact layups, contact close to the rim. You get a jump out there that fouls. We've seen some three-pointers get called for fouls.
Yeah, mid-range like that, normally you don't see a super hard closeout, and I think that kind of comes back to the defensive IQ stat, as that's another missed free throw there from Knox. And like we were talking about before, if both teams are hitting their free throws, we'd have 20, 25 more points on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, they've done a good job getting the line, not done a great job of contributing that, or, converting that in a significant way.
Knox misses the second as well, and you hate to see that, even as a big. You know, an 0 for 2 trip is pretty much a turnover, so not what you want to see if you're Seattle. And that's a good take there, over a
great
lot of
take.
contact.
Yeah, one in front of him and two, one on his right and one on his back.
Yeah, Huxley doing a great job there, showing why he shot so well, despite not really being a threat from 3, just absolutely eating inside, getting to that short area. As that's a nice block from Johnson, and he is having himself quite a good game against these Seattle bigs. Raccoon's gonna bring it up, and he was the leading scorer for them, I believe, in the prospect tournament, if I'm not wrong. But my stat page also looks like it might be wrong. Either way, he has not done well today as McGinty just tries to snake his way around, and
Medici wanted that putt back.
yeah, he flew in there as good extra
What
pass.
great movement. Machero was about to get knocked and makes the extra pass and easy 2 points.
Just like that, Ohio goes up big, and the crowd here in Seattle kind of seems shocked. I mean, it really was a low-key run. It didn't feel like a huge run when it was happening. What much needed bucket there from Knox, but still an 11-point game.
Yeah, it's definitely been a subtle run. I don't feel like Seattle has really let up their defense too much or anything of that. I think it's just they're not knocking down shots when they're getting them.
Yeah, absolutely. They have been struggling from the floor ever since the first game, and that's a great hang and hit from Huxley. Goodness. You see the field goal percentages there, and that's why they're down. You know, they kept it close despite shooting such a low percentage early on.
Oh yeah, a 53% to a 33% explains a lot.
I think a big problem is, you know, they have, as McGinty gets a great look there, and he can't hit.
Where was Aldo going? He was just like, I'm out.
You see, you know, they have Raccoon, they have Knox catching the ball on the perimeter, and I think that really limits their offense, because even when they run it really well, is what a throw down there. That was Evans, I believe, getting his name in the stat book for the first
Evans
time.
There.
But you see, you know, Knox and Raccoon catching the ball on the perimeter, and it's just, there's nothing they can do with it.
Yeah, that's definitely not where they want that.
Oh my.
Man.
Just totally erased. And Stern's going to have to get up a shot here. Goes to Raccoon. Medici has the mismatch, but oh my
goodness! What a shot.
Looking like Dirk Nowitzki.
I wasn't sure he was even going to get that off. I thought it was just going to be a turnover, and then he gets it, and it's good.
Well, Huxley manages not to airball, and that'll take us into the fourth quarter. I've heard the chat has some sort of tradition or something, like they put the fours in the chat.
Oh yeah, you got to put the fours in the chat because, you know, you got another quarter of action coming up.
You know, Mitch was trying to explain it to me. I'm not sure I get it, but put the fours in the chat, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a blind tradition here, right? You put the fours in. It's maybe it's some optimism too, because there's more game to be played. But
very true. You know, you got 10 more minutes of basketball to watch. There's nothing better than that. We're gonna see the assist of the game here. Not brought to you by State Farm. Not a sponsor. And it's Tribble's miraculous hook shot. Hooks
just
and
less
more
about
of
the
a
assist and more about Tribble making it work.
yeah, exactly. I'm not sure the pass did too much to make that shot happen. And McGinty here needs to turn things up for Seattle. I think they need to get their guard play back to where it was. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Raccoon catches the ball and there's just no threat. Now they find Medici. He's not doing anything out there either, and McGinty is left to kind of create here with 3. Finds Stern. That's a tough look and not even close.
Yeah, I think maybe part of the problem might be that you've got 3 guys on that unit out there that are not going to do anything outside the perimeter. So all Ohio has to do is just stack it into the paint.
Right, yeah, and we talked about free throw shooting, but I think something that's gone overlooked as Medici picks the pocket and he's gonna get a run out jam. Keeps it nice and simple. But
Oh yeah.
Seattle can't really shoot the ball. You've got McGinty who shot 12% in the prospect game. And then on the floor right now you've got Knox at 0, Medici at 0, and Raccoon, who was, I believe, 1 for 1 for 100%, or at the very least, very low volume.
Third
Right.
personal foul.
Yeah, the preference definitely is not the outside game. Ohio's done a good job of negating those that can, like Brennan McGinty.
22.
You don't want to leave him open,
Taking
but
2
he's
shots.
also not going to be a very efficient shooter in coverage from that range.
Absolutely, and I feel like, with Seattle, it might just be a case of you can make this work with those 3 guys you see right now lined up in the lane. But the playbook has to change.
Right.
If
Get
you're
him in
gonna
some pick and roll, get him in some triangle action, do something that gets him open in the interior.
Exactly, if you're gonna try and make it work for them, the worst thing you could do is have them running off of screens. It's either
Raccoon
that.
says no. Raccoon said no, we're sticking with this.
Hey, fair enough, I guess, but yeah, we're not the coach. It's a very one-dimensional look. As you see, we're up to, quick math here, we're up to nearly 40 free throws tonight. Oh my goodness!
Oh!
Tribble just absolutely grabs the ball from Raccoon, gets him back from Raccoon's earlier snatch block.
Oh yeah.
And you see, as Muddy Blunts gets a good look there, just can't hit. And I don't know, for Seattle, like you were talking about, you need to run the triangle offense or some sort of elevator type of plays to get your guards. That's Tribble reaching in. Great steal from him, and Mitchell's going to get a chance to do something on the break, but Stern ruins it, Can't let anything good happen around here. More free throws.
That's Stern for you. Cough, cough. But
Definitely,
yeah, I think this game's threatening to turn into a battle of momentum here. Ohio seems to have got a lot going for him. A snatch block, then another turnover, and now we've got Mitchell at the line. So Seattle needs to do something here to get the bleeding to quit.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to what I said earlier about how this might end up the longest game in GSB history, based on I'm looking here to confirm before I, say something just totally inaccurate. The longest game in GSB history to this point was our previous game tonight at 1 hour and 22 minutes.
Oh, we're gonna beat that.
We have 8 minutes to play with 1 hour and 3 already gone by. So I think we will certainly eclipse that record today, and I don't even have to look it up to tell you this is probably already the most free throws shot in a game.
Oh, they ooped it. He tried to oop it to McGinty.
Nuggets ball.
Certainly.
No.
Certainly an effort was made. I'm not sure McGinty can dunk, to be perfectly honest.
I think he can, but not well, and not like that.
Wow, another great take by Muddy Blunts. Now that's how you do it. Once
He's having
again,
a great night.
he really is. He's proven that he can be the guy at point guard, not just a Steve Nash distributor, but truly a scoring option for them.
Yeah, I know he was talking before the game and he was excited because he's been putting in some work, trying to make some changes to his game, and you can definitely see that kind of paying off here tonight.
Absolutely, and a certain loser, like not in not like a loser, but like someone who has gone down in stock in this game has got to be Stern. I mean, I know Seattle expected a lot of him, and he has just not come out shooting very well today.
Dub? Is that the Stern?
Oh yeah, There's two, isn't there? Yeah, Dub
Yeah.
Stern. We haven't seen
Dub
too
and
much of
Steel.
Steel. Oh, it looks like Mitchell's getting ready to attack here, and I think we all want to see that right now as Tribble takes it from him up top, and Muddy Blunts will create again. There's Mitchell going to take a 3, and he's got it. That's a part of his game that if he can get that going, it truly changes Ohio's whole game plan for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very curious going into this game tonight what they would look like. I know that they always have a plan, knowing the guys there in the front office. But this is a very interesting roster and slate of people here.
You know, and I've been really, really impressed with Ohio. Like, Seattle has obviously struggled a fair bit and maybe didn't come out with the best possible game plan. But I also think a big part of it is Ohio has just been really, really good.
I think it has been definitely a combination of both. Again, Seattle will not look like this next week. You'll be a fool to think that this will be a weekly thing. This is going to be a good team, but a great showing for Ohio too.
I am absolutely mystified by that in the last play. Knox was the ball handler in a pick and roll with Stern.
Right. It's been a little bit of the story of the night, though, right?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, just a case of, I don't know, not enough cooks in the kitchen, I guess, is Tribble. Real, that's how you run a pick and roll right there. Executed beautifully, and Ohio's opened this up to 18 now. And I really do think Seattle might struggle to hit 70.
It's not impossible, but they need to run pretty quickly.
Knox going to work down there. They're forcing him to dribble, and he's going to take a fade. That's not going to work.
No.
Now here comes Mitchell on the other end. He had a chance to drive, but he gave it up to Philbin again, and he takes a fade. Dribble's going to clean that one up, and rolls just off the rim. Medici rebounds. I'm a little just overall confused. Like, you see Raccoon catching right there, you know, if he's got a 3-ball, he has enough space to let it fly. Same with Knox, but there's nothing there.
They don't want it. It's not really part of their arsenal. Their game's mostly slashing interior.
I just think Seattle can make it work with this group, you know. There's no one-size-fits-all to win in this league, but the game plan has to be different then. You know, you can't go with the offenses other teams are running. Like, maybe look into the 65 Lakers playbook.
Yeah, and I think that we'll see that reconciled or remedied to a degree coming in this next week. You know, coaches and owners are in the chat. We can see them. They're definitely taking notes. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to think, you know, Seattle is definitely going back to the drawing board, but I don't think they're going to lose confidence in any of these guys, as Stern can't hit that one. Like, you know, as I said, Stern not having a great game, but you can see the potential. He's finding openings as there's Bailey on the slam. And Bailey's a pretty big guy for a point guard at 6'5", not just height-wise, but he's real filled out there. I didn't even realize he was a point guard.
Yeah, you know, he was there was a stat that popped up maybe at halftime that he had like 4 or 5 rebounds already as a point guard. So,
you know, I'll call it right now. E.J. Bailey will be the first player in GSB to get a triple-double.
Really?
I truly believe that with how he's played today and the way his teammates are able to score so efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he'll have a game where he can get 10, 10, and 10. Now, I don't think he's going to be a Westbrook and get it every night, but I do think he's got a really, really good shot.
An interesting take.
As it looks like Ohio's emptying the bench here fully. 5 for 5.
Oh, jeez.
We're probably going to see, you know, they'll put their hoodies on. They got the towels on already, as you can see.
Yeah. ADM Smith in the chat just made me chuckle. He says the Shaman have to go home to Ohio, so who's the real loser? Yeah.
Well, Phillips with a strong take there. Not looking like too much of a drop-off here between the first and second teams, as we're going to see Steele Stern in. I feel like we haven't seen him too much yet today.
No, I agree with that.
And McGinty misses a wide open one. They need those. He was hitting those early in the game, and they need him to hit those to be competitive.
Yeah, and I've been surprised with how well he's gotten open tonight as on that perimeter.
Yeah, most definitely. Like when they run the same plays, they're running for the bigs. You know, they're getting the same results. And speaking of a guy that we haven't seen too much, there's Odin out there again, and I feel like after he played well in the first, he's kind of been
Bad. Oh, he could have done him so much worse. Bear Johnson's a good guy.
He is, and you know the celebration after that. I don't really know what there is to celebrate.
Right?
He basically made an open layup in practice, but no.
Right.
As you see, 7 made field goals in the half for Seattle, which is certainly not ideal. You see, Jordan Tribble gets the in-game player of the game honors, and he's certainly had some good moments.
Oh yeah. They drafted him, I believe it was 4th round. Was a great pickup for them, especially cementing that with the way he's played tonight. But I mean, I knew it then. Dude's gonna be dangerous.
Absolutely, and chat talking about Seattle to Oklahoma City. Starting already in GSB, the relocation talks. Will Seattle lose their team again? I severely doubt that. They've got a good ownership group, and you know this isn't the way they wanted to come out in their first showing, but they'll definitely turn things around. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him turn into even maybe a contender. As Phillips really playing well here.
Yeah, no, I think that they will be a contender. I have several on the top of my head that I thought came out of that draft in a pretty comfortable way, and they were up there pretty high.
Yeah, absolutely. And Phillips, he's played really well here in his limited minutes. You know, he another illegal screen there. Man, they have been getting burned on him tonight. I think it's just, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen, like I said.
Yeah,
too many
so
big guys.
Here's the thing we could talk about the last couple minutes. Week 1 games, right?
Oh yeah, that would be a great way to spend our time instead of
Yeah. So here's an interesting little tidbit, right? Ohio looks like they're gonna blow out Seattle here, which is fine. And Ohio will go on to play Portland, who happens to be the only other team who blew a team out. So we'll get to see the two hotheads, if you will, face off in week 1.
You know, I think that'll definitely be a premier matchup, and I think it could preview, you know, who maybe has the most success early on with the way they played in these games. Who does Seattle face in week 1?
New York.
New York. I think that's a game that'll tell us a lot about both those teams, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Pretty sure New York won this week, just off the top of my head. So if Seattle can come out and make a statement against that, that definitely cures a lot of worry about them. But
yeah,
I do
definitely.
think they'll be fine. I don't think this is an indication of who they are as a team.
We got another moving screen here, and I remember we were talking about, will Seattle get to 70? Well, will they get to 60? It's in serious doubt right now.
Right?
Oh, Odin was like, okay, we gotta get 60. Come on now, this is a professional league.
Yeah, you gotta make it worth buying the jerseys. The kids need the jerseys, guys.
I've heard that the Seattle organization has said if they hit 70 points, they'll give out free jerseys to everyone in the arena.
That explains everything.
It must be something like that, you know. It's just a rumor, but based on the score tonight, I'm thinking there might be some truth to it.
No, they definitely they probably didn't allocate the funding right, and they realized, oh crap, can't do it.
Well, Seattle will get 60, but that's a fairly low bar, so I don't think anyone's gonna be partying on the streets for those 60 points.
Yeah. I losing by 24. It's not how you want to start your season, and it's not the start of the season, but not the first time. It's the first time these teams played together, so.
There's Williams, a good look. About tore down the basket. I wish he would have, so we didn't have to watch 24 more seconds.
Right.
It's a.
He's trying to make sure the lid's off, nicely off. Cleared out.
Certainly a dominating victory for Ohio. That's a nice post move down there. I want to say the most lopsided win in the preseason.
We can find out. So, Portland would be in the only contest on that, right? So the Portland game was 104 to 82. So.
Thank you to all of our fans who joined
27 versus 22.
So
that's right. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, shoot. Certainly a basketball game was played. Ohio with a dominating win. And I don't know what else there is to say. Just a truly dominant win is real quick. Let me check this out. Seattle barely finished above 30% from the field, which is good. Because for a little bit there, it was looking like it was going to be 28, 27.
Right.
But one last thought I want to close out on here. I feel like these preseason games feel a little more important than they actually are, just because of the fact it's a new league. It's the first time we're seeing it, so.
Yeah, I agree with that. They don't have any actual meaning, except for this is the first time these organizations are debuting in any significant way that is basketball, and so people are trying to draw a lot more meaning out of them than there actually is.
Absolutely. Just a quick tidbit here. 60 rebounds for Ohio.
Jesus.
Insane. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. There was, in fact, a basketball game played today. That's about all you can say about it, but it was basketball.
Yeah,
thank you very much for joining me. It was a good time. I'm sure we'll be on a game together again soon. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Oh, box score.
I was going to say, are we going over the box score here?
I'll start with Ohio. 16 for Muddy Blunt, 7 of 14. 11 for Bailey. 11 for Phillips. 9 for Mitchell. Bailey, by the way, had 11, 7, and 7.
Oh,
Speaking
my
of triple-double watch.
Yep.
Tribble, 9 and 14. Just dominant. Huxley with 9. Evans with 8. Johnson with 8. Philbin with 6 and 8. 8 rebounds for Evans. 6 for Johnson, by the way. 2 for Matura. Am I right on that pronunciation?
I'm not entirely certain. I've been saying Mashera, but
Mashera, yeah, one of the two. For Seattle, 12 points, 1 board for Odin. 12 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists on 4 of 16 for poor McGinty.
No threes.
No threes.
Oh.
8 and 8 for Knox. He played pretty solid. 7 for Stern, 1 for 9. 6 for Snyder, 3 assists on 1 for 8. 6 for Harrison on 2 of 3. 5 for Medici, 6 boards. 4 and 2 for Stern with 3 assists. 2 and 5 for Williams, and 0 for Raccoon. 5 boards. That 0 hurts. Well. All right then. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. It was a good time. I'm sure we will call a game again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you to everyone for watching. Hopefully next time we get a little bit of a better game. But this has been GSB, We thank you once again.